Hello, everyone, and welcome to my hive. My name is Robin, and on today we will be exploring the features of the Caesar of my Siser Romeo. Let's dive in. So, on today, we will be going over the settings and also doing various test cuts on and off the mat. So right now, what I'm going to do is go and wake Caesar up, and let's look at the various settings. So as you can see here, this is the panel, the touch panel, where we see all the various functions for our Romeo. We can go up and down, and this moves the housing that carries the blade, and I do have inserted the 45-degree blade. We have our general settings here, the LED, and then you can slide over to turn off the light and turn it back on. We also can place the chime, and the chime this chime is a feature that will alert us when we're finished cutting our various materials. So you can turn on the chime, and that's the sound of the chime. Or you can have the LED function alert you, and that's the flashing of the light. And in this case, I will keep them both on so that when the project is finished cutting, it will alert us with the chime and the LED feature. We can also ask Romeo to go to sleep after a certain amount of time of not being in operation, and we can slide that over. So right now I have, let me just set it for 30 minutes. Okay, 29. So let's go to 30. So you can manually adjust it or use the slide panel. So I did the 30 minutes. Let's go to the next feature. We have the unit measurements, and I place this on inches. And if you want the millimeters, the metric, but I'm going to go with the imperial inches. And then the language. I speak English, so this is on English. And then we have the various other languages that you can choose from. Romeo has lots of options here, so that's great. Then I want to take a look at the camera. So the camera here is for our print and cut. And we will look at this at a later date as we possibly get into creating. Let me see here. What can we create? We can create various stickers. So I am in need of some stickers. So we will revisit this option. So it looks like we have the camera. Then we have the USB, and the port is in the back. You can put your USB here and work from your file on your USB drive. Then we have the system info. The system info is very important when you're setting up your Romeo. I found that when it asks for your serial number is your MPID number. That number is on the bottom of Romeo as well as under system information, the MPID number. So let's go back to the main screen. So we looked at all of the settings. Prior to getting to the settings, I want to, and let me change my screen up. Okay. So the most important part of today's video is to encourage you to take your Siser Romeo out of the box. If you haven't done so, please do it now. This is your chance. Do not leave Romeo in the box. Oftentimes, when we get new technology, I'm not sure if we just fear change because maybe there's another cutter that you started with. I did the same. I started with another cutter, but I wanted to explore my options just to see what else is out there. I've heard great things about Romeo, and this is the 24-inch cutter, which is larger than the previous cutters that I own. And I wanted to just see what Romeo was about and bring it into my craft room. So again, take Romeo out of the box, or any of your new toys that you have, take them out the box. So let's go back to Romeo. And the next item on the list is the cut settings. And then we also had a test cut. So we're going to go into the cut settings. Okay, so first we have here listed the various types of HTV that Siser offer. We have the Easy Weave, the Brick 600 holographic blackboard glitter and metal. Then we have a portion of the PSV vinyl, and this is the Starling Etch holographic glitter pattern plus and blackboard. Lastly, on the preset panel, we have other, and listed under other is the Sparkle, Twinkle, and Strip Flock. Sparkle, Twinkle, Strip Flock. Then we have 3 other panels that are open for us to customize them based on the material that we will be using. So today, and the only thing I have right now is the Siser Easy Weave Puff. So I do believe, well, I know, not I do believe, I know that this puff is much thicker than just the Easy Weave. So let's go into Easy Weave just to see if it will cut. Let's see if it'll cut my puff with these settings that are preset into this machine. Back in the back, We went over, we have the lever, and then we also have the pinch rollers. So the lever, once you go up, these pinch rollers will hold down your material. Then when you push it down, it releases the material. Here we have the guide that you place your material on or up against. And the 45-degree blade is in the housing from our previous video. So let's go and with the puff, put the shiny side up, slide the materials in, stay up against the guide. And am I feeling some resistance here? Okay. Okay, so these pinch rollers are adjustable. You want to adjust the pinch rollers so that it can hold your material down. So as long as the lever is up, you can adjust the roller. So let's get this roller over top of the material. And down beneath the pinch roller, we do have these grit marks. These grit marks are in various places. They feel like a fingernail file, and you want to just make sure that you have your material on top of them, and they help keep things in place as well, so that your material isn't sliding all over your machine. Okay. So after let me move the blade housing over a little bit, if it'll go. Okay, so it's over as far as this one goes. Okay. So now that I have it in place, we're going to go ahead, push down the lever or pull up the lever. And let's do a test cut based on the Easy Weave setting, although I have the Easy Weave puff. Let's see, because it doesn't say puff, but it does say Easy Weave. So let's do a test cut. Wow, Romeo's pretty fast. So we're going to release the lever in the back. And I can see the indentation. However, not sure if you're able to see that. I can see the indentation or the marking of it being in the material, but I can't feel it. So the speed is at 10 and then the force is at 5. And that's not deep enough. And my blade is out as it should be. So let's try creating a preset. Let's customize and do our own thing for the Easy Weave puff. Not our own thing, but we're going to put a custom preset. So let me get the material back in. It's such a small piece, and if you feel some resistance, find out what it is, because it may not be properly inserted. So let me see here. So I cut one place, push up the lever to hold it in place, and then I already cut at the beginning. So I don't want to cut over top of it. I want to go beside it because this is our test cutting. So let's move the blade over. And hopefully I'm not in the way. So let's go ahead and make our custom cut setting for the Easy Weed Puff. So I went too far out, hit Easy Weed, go over to other. We're going to open up one of the empty panels. We're going to go ahead and rename this panel. Let's backspace. Okay, so we're going to name that Easy Weed Puff. And we want to save that. Let's spell it right. Easy Weed, capital P, UFF. Easy Weed Puff. And then we're going to save that preset. Awesome. So let's go in. And we're going to up the cut speed as well as the force. So right now it's at 1 and 1, and we know it's not going to cut anything as far as the puff goes. So we're going to, let's make this a 10 for the cut speed, and let's increase the force a bit. I'm going to take it all the way up to like 45. I already moved the blade housing over, and we're going to do another cut, test cut. Okay, and that ticking in the background is the older model of the heat press warming up. So hopefully that's not annoying. So let's release the lever and check to see if it cut. Oh, wow. That's more prominent. That's, can you see that? Yes. That is so much better. Yes. It's so much better than the previous cut. And the previous cut is on here somewhere, but it's so light and faint that you can barely tell. And yeah, it's so faint. So let's get our weeding tool out. We'll get a cutting mat. And I'm going to weed the test cut box. So first we have the square, that's like the bounding box. And then right in the middle of the little t-shirt, we have a little circle. That came out perfect. And then lastly, we will pull out the t-shirt. Awesome. So that test cut was successful. And that was cutting off the mat. Let's try the same thing on a mat and see how it goes. If we need to change the force a little, that's cutting off the mat. And now we want to go on the mat. So I'm aligning. You aren't able to see me, or just a little, you can see me. So we're going to go ahead and place this strip of material that I'm doing my test cuts on to the mat and see how the test cut does on a mat. And this mat was provided along with my Romeo. So let's go ahead and slide the mat in. We want to push the housing over just a tad so I can get it over top of some material. Make sure that the mat is not over the guide, and this is the gray guide with the arrows. So it looks like I have it at a good position. Then we want to pull up the lever. Okay. So that looks great. So the lever has everything tight. So let's do another test cut and see how that does on the mat. So Romeo's pretty quick, that's for sure. It's very fast. So I do have my keyboard back here. I don't want it to be pushing keys. So push down the lever, pull it out, and let's see, how did it cut? Do I need to change the settings, increase the force, or will it just stay the same? So let's try and pull out the bounding box. The bounding box has no problem pulling out, so there's no difference. Then we're going to go ahead and weed out the circle in the middle, and that came out just perfect as well. Wow, and then the little t-shirt. Thank you so much, Romeo. That is awesome. So what we did find that the puff being a thicker material than just the Easy Weave puff being a thicker material is it needed more force than what the original preset was for. This is the only material I have at the moment in various colors, but it's puff, puff, puff. I don't have a comparison to do with any other Siser material. So we customized our very own preset. We named it Easy Weave Puff. It is a speed of 10 and a force of 45. We did our test cut. So let's go to our Leonardo Design Studio. So I'm going to take the test off and we'll get into something a little different. Okay, so here is the interface of Leonardo Design Studio Pro. My free trial is up in 2 days. We're on the home page, and this is the Create Like an Innovator for Romeo and the Juliet. And it tells you a bit about the products that they offer and lets me know that I am, well, it's asking me to upgrade, but it told me when I added my free trial on here that it'll let me know when to upgrade. And I will be upgrading with the Pro. The Pro has the rhinestone feature, and I would love to create a rhinestone design using my Siser Romeo as well. So we have various tutorials. All of this information, I was able to log into, it was the setup Siser.com, and then I was able to download the software. So here's a tutorial, and you can look at the various tutorials to get to know your Romeo a lot better, or your Juliet, whichever one you have. They also have some inspiration, and the inspiration is other crafters who created various other designs and projects. Then we have our design library where we can pick and choose some projects, some images, if you like. And then we have a material library, and then this material library allows you to view what Siser has to offer. And here's all of my registration information. And lets me know that my machine is in fact registered. So let's get into the design that we're going to cut out today. So here I am in the design portion. I have my 12 by 12 mat here, and this is my artboard. We are on the cutting mat, and it does show that the mat is a 12 by 12, which is what we have. It asks me, do I want to hide the grids or keep the grids on? I love the grids. The dark background or the light background is a user preference. And then we have the print and cut option as well. Let's go and import our project for today. So we're going to go ahead and hit File, then Import, and import today's design. This is my To God Be the Glory file, but this is a custom design designed for someone. It's not on my Etsy shop. And I do have the dimensions of this design. So let's go ahead and test and import. Let's go ahead and import. Editable artwork, cut only, or print and cut. We're doing a cut only, excuse me. We will go next. The only color that we have at this time is not a multi-layer. It is just one layer, and the color is black. We don't have to align marks or draw solid fills at this time. But it's good to know that we have options. And the size came in correctly. This is 10.5 on the width, and then the height is 5.303. So that's came in great. If I want to change the color of To God Be the Glory, TGB, I can just go here and change the color and apply it. It doesn't, it's just an appearance. What matters is the material that you insert into Romeo. But if you want to get a look and feel of how things are going to look, then you can do so by changing the colors here. and also using the color picker, then you can also change the and work with turn on and off layers. So that is great. So we're not going to use this option, but we have the color picker. We just change it to red. Let's change it. I'm going to, let's change it to another color on the color wheel, because today we're going to be using orange. And let's apply it. So that looks good. Although, you know, like I said, what's on the mat is what matters. But to get a look and feel of everything in the Leonardo Design Studio Pro, this is an awesome feature. So we're going to go ahead and send this design over to, we're going to hit send design. So here are some default settings, all artwork that fits on the page. And then it has don't separate colors. We only have a single color, so that's not an option at this time. Selected artwork only. We're going to leave it as the default, all artwork. And here is the positioning option. And previously we were talking about the sent artwork options. Now we're on the positioning options. Decide how you want to position the artwork. Move each color layer to origin. Keep relative positions of each layer. And last option, use current mat page location. We're going to just, and also we have the allow weed margin. And then we also have over here a wireframe preview. So we're going to leave it as the default options and hit send. I did notice, which is different from my other cutter that I use, that when you're designing anything in Leonardo, it sends everything toward the bottom. If you need to move it, then move it. But it does, you insert it, but it does go all the way to the bottom. So I'm going to push it up. Let me place the orange puff onto the mat and see if I can get at least a 12 by 12. If not, so shiny side up for puff. Okay, so let me see if my material will cover the whole page, because if not, I don't want a portion to be empty and then waste material. I don't have an abundance amount of material for Siser at this time, so I don't want to be wasteful. So I'm going to check my dimensions on the mat. Okay, so it's a hair off from 12 inches. It's not an exact 12 inch. So we're going to go ahead and place what we have onto the mat. Excuse me. So we have, let's move this up a little and back up off the edges. I just want to be certain that we're not at the very bottom. Okay. So this is a look at the machine. I am using a cutting mat, and these are the cutting properties. I am connected to the Wi-Fi. When you're setting up your Romeo or your Juliet, you have the Wi-Fi option as well as the USB option. I did find that you have to notate the IP address because you have to enter that in a part of the setup as well. So take note of your serial number, which is your MPID number, and then your IP address. So back to our machine and the cutting properties. I am connected to the Wi-Fi. I'm on a cutting mat. The mat is a 12 by 12. And then we do have our blade already inserted. We're going to use the cutter settings, which we have customized and tested with the test cut. I am using the Siser Easy Weed Puff HTV. I need to mirror my image. I would love to have the auto weed box around my design, and then before I hit send to cutter, I need to make sure that my material is in the machine, because I don't want to be hitting a button and it needs my material to be in the box. So, and in Siser, not in the box. So let's go ahead and we can go ahead, and I'm going to come out of this screen. I'm going to stop sharing. Around, line up my material. Make sure that my guides are in place. I can move them at this time. So that there's not a lot of shifting going on. Using the gray guide here to make sure that the mat is not on top of the guide, but right at the guide. You don't want to go over. The material is on and the design is mirrored. Check, check, check. Then we're going to pull the lever up so that it can keep our material in place. So we're going to go back to the design. And let's send to cutter. One other screen did pop up and it states cutting options. Choose how you would like to finish the cut. Return to starting position. And the other option is advance to end of cut. And this is for long jogs. Cutting tools. And we're going to do the kiss cut. These are defaults that are already checked. The kiss cut, that is the cut contours. And then we also have return to starting position. These presets, we're going to go ahead with them since this is our first cut. Then we're going to go and hit OK. And it's cutting. Wow. It's pretty fast. Wow. Can you imagine if I put that cut speed up a little higher? That's pretty fast, and that's pretty fast, and okay. So let's see what we have here, because it looks to me that it was going off the page, so I don't know what that was about. So let's see if I have all my letters. I do not. So not sure of what happened here. If you can see that all of my letters are not, the alignment is off. Pretty sure it's user error. And then the bounding box is cutting into the design. So something I don't have aligned properly. Oh, so the mirror looks good, but I wasted material. Okay. Wham, wham, wham. Let's look back at Leonardo Design Studio, because something is not right, and what it is, I let's find out together. Where if I take the auto weed box off, it still doesn't go in the middle of the design. The auto weed box was around the design. It's on a 12 by 12 mat. That's all I have for right now. Huh. That is so strange. Okay. I want the auto weed box to be on. So let's go back to the design and start over and look at what we're choosing. And I thought I was going to be able to do it in the orange. I have some Siser. I have some Siser some Siser puff on a roll that I did purchase from Heat Transfer Warehouse. So maybe I can run and get that. So let me see here. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and send the design. So it's send artwork, all artwork that fits on the page. Not selected, don't separate by color. Positioning options, move each color layer to origin. Keep relative positionings of each layer. Use current mat page location. I'm going to leave that as the default. So here we have the design again. My To God Be the Glory custom design. If I put the auto weed box on. Let me try and turn it like I'm going to turn the design. Oh, all of these are separate. Let's go back. Let's go all the way back. So how do I go back to the, okay, I think I see what the problem could be. Maybe, So when it went to cut, it was separated. But I know that my design is one. Why is it separate when I go? Okay. I'm just clicking on stuff, but I know that my SVG was already grouped together. And even if I delete it and then go back and import it in again to start over, and I re-import my design, it's going to be a cut design that we're cutting vinyl, and we're going to hit next and include alignment marks, drawer solids. We're going to keep so even when we click off of it, we can see that this is just one big design and it's already grouped together. Why, when I sent the design, okay, so these are the defaults. Why is the design separate now? I won't take up any more of your time. I will figure this out of why did it separate my letters at print. It's something that I'm not selecting. Pretty sure it's user error. However, I know that they are together now. And then if I put the auto weed box around, we're going to try that again. Huh. It's one of those things that make you go, So, okay, so let's check. We're connected to the Wi-Fi. It's on the cutting mat. The mat is 12 by 12. And we are using the Siser blade. And then use cutter settings, use blade, mirror. We have to mirror the design because it is the puff. And we're going to send to cutter. So these are defaults. And I don't want to be changing any of the defaults, not at this time. Okay. Let me run and get another piece of puff. Because I don't have a lot of material to waste, and I just wasted a sheet. Not wasted, but wasted. Hold, please. I have the puff that I purchased from Heat Transfer Warehouse. So let me stop. Okay. So here you can see in the inside, this is the Siser puff that I purchased from the Heat Transfer Warehouse. It has the barcode with all the instructions. So I'm going to be placing this on a you can see it a little in there. I'm going to be placing it on a black bag. So we're going to push the blade all the way over. And we're going to have to do a test cut just to make sure, because this material is a lot thinner. I'm going to push it over on the material. Okay. Pull the lever up and let's do a test cut. And it's still off as far as the cutting because it cut my mat. So why is my blade alignment not in place? Okay. So I'm going to, if you can see this here, I can see the box, the bounding box of the t-shirt. And then that came off pretty nicely. The t-shirt, pretty nice. As well as the circle. Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and give it a whirl. I have some homework to do, okay? Just the uncertainty of why things changed. Not sure. But I'll proceed. Hold the material in place. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm not sharing my screen, but I'm going to go and hit send to cutter. Let's see what happens. Fingers crossed. Let me see what you're looking at here. I believe you are looking at Siser. Okay, looking good. So it looks like we had success as far as positioning, but that is something that I have to work on. Again, I believe it could be user error. So let's go ahead and weed. So we're going to go ahead and weed the material and take what we need and get rid of the excess. And then place the weed box around. So we do see some puffing. The puffing looks great. It's smooth, but it does have some crinkling on the edges. But it almost looks like it's stitched. Looks very masculine to me. I love it.
The main thing is the puffing is
The puff work. So, and the cutting was precise. And I'm back. So here, if you can see the puff, and it's on like a small backpack. It turned out really nice. I have no complaints. None. So I have some homework, but like I said, it could have been user error of why things weren't lined up properly when I cut, but I'll figure that out and come back at a later date after trying some various other cuts just to get myself familiar. It is possibly user error, but for the most part, I love my Romeo. It cut out very well, just very fast and user friendly. So that's what I like most of all. So I can't wait to get into the various other things that Siser Romeo has to offer in the Leonardo Design Studio software. And I will be bringing out new videos in the near future. So again, thank you for stopping by. Please like, subscribe, tell a friend, and I'll see you the next time. Bye.